talk in the Movie Talk voice channel if anyone else wants to join. But here we go. Jeff.
What is the law?
Yes, you're already ready to talk about it, I can see. That is a line in the film.
The force.
Yeah.
Only not men.
Yeah, that's what they say, and we'll get into it. We'll get into it all. So let's first just talk about The Island of Dr. Moreau. It's a book. I've never read it. Jeff, you have, and this will be good, and we can talk about the similarities and differences between the book and the movie. But there's also other film iterations of it. Quite a few, actually, like 3 or 4 other ones. There's a 19... Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's a 1996 one with Val Kilmer, and it's notorious for being like one of the worst movies ever made. I kind of want to go back, and I also watched a documentary about it. So they had a crazy, difficult time making that film. But this movie, I think I've seen this before too when I was a little kid, so I didn't really remember anything. But I generally enjoyed this. I'm gonna let you wanted to say some stuff. I'm gonna let you go, Jeff.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say the book is from 1896. It's H.G. Wells, so it's kind of like a few decades into it's just like several decades after Origin of Species is published and evolution is sort of becoming, Darwin evolution is becoming sort of mainstream. Right. And they don't quite understand genetics yet, but the book is like there are some things about about this particular movie that I was like, oh, they didn't quite go as far as they could have with just how visceral that this idea is.
Yeah, and for people that I think most people would know, but just in case anybody doesn't know what the basic plot of this movie is, I'll go into it and this basic story. We can talk about the differences in a bit, but for this movie, it starts with Michael York is the main character, and he's drifted. He finds himself as a shipwreck, so he's in a boat with 2 other guys, and right at the beginning they throw out the one guy, I guess because he's dead weight or something. But part of me was like they should eat that guy, right? That's what part of me was thinking to survive. But I guess it's good they don't, because then they end up at the island and then the movie continues. But right off the bat, I think we're to assume the other guy is killed, because he's left while Michael York tries to get help or whatever, and he's left just alone in the forest. And then we see a creature. Well, we don't see a creature, but we see a camera come up to him, and he goes, so we're assuming he's dead. So it's just Michael York in this compound where Dr. Moreau lives, this doctor who has been disgraced for his unethical work with genetics and his unethical ideas, basically, about science and genetics and creating animal people, basically. That's basically what it comes down to, is creating animal people, part human, part animal. And this is what I didn't remember, and this is my main question about what's the difference between the book and the movie. I always thought that it was taking humans and turning them into animals, and they do both sort of in this, but it's mostly turning the animals into people. Is that different in the book?
Yeah, there's a little bit in this movie, I think, where eventually Moreau tries to turn the main character into a little bit more animalistic. I think the book, I think it's mostly just Dr. Moreau just taking animals and surgically altering them to be more human. It's actually there's a lot about vivisection. It's in this movie, I think they kind of tone down the idea of like vivisection. They actually just go with like he makes like this serum stuff, which I guess probably, I guess because like now we know a bit more about like how genes work and stuff, but like it's hard to make this idea really plausible now. But like basically in Wells's version and in I think
you can
the
suspend
30s
your
one with
disbelief.
Charles Lawton. It's like, yeah, just basically just cuts them up and does a bunch of grafting and creates hybrid creatures.
With and then so it's a little bit different in the book in that way, because in this it's just like injecting him with fluid and they become more human, or they become. And with the science that they use is like the embryo. They try to change the embryo.
Yeah, I think he's like trying to alter the cells or something, like chromosomes.
And that's all interesting. And yeah, there's always going to be elements that aren't super realistic, but with a movie, you sort of let some of that slide, right? But yeah, that's interesting.
They do make something a bit more explicit. I guess. I think in the different adaptations and the book, like the motivation is a little bit different. I think in the book he's just kind of like, he just wants to do research. Like he's just like a scientist, like motivated by solving a problem or whatever. I don't know exactly, but like in this one he actually has like, he's like references like eugenics and like trying to better humanity.
Yeah, I noticed that. And yeah, eugenics.
I mean, that is contemporaneous with the times of late 1800s.
Yeah, and eugenics is obviously a problematic idea. Tommy Douglas, who is actually known as the greatest Canadian, he won that contest years ago on CBC. But that's like the most problematic thing with his ideas, is because he was a pretty
I think
beloved
what's
person.
His name? That Huxley family. There's like famous writers and there's also famous scientists like from the Huxley family, and I think. One of the first famous Huxleys was somebody who was like a champion of Darwin, like just a scientist who said, "Oh, this has got to be right."
Mm-hmm.
And like a few of the other ones, like I think a son or grandson or something was like a major eugenics player.
Okay, no, I believe it. But yeah, let's get into this movie. I can delve a little bit deeper. So. Like I said, that's the basic plot. There's other characters to consider, and some of the things that didn't make sense to me, but we'll get into all that. So there's a love interest. Is she in the book? That's what I want to know.
I don't think so. I think
it felt very.
This is actually kind of an idea that kind of carries over from the 30s Charles Lawton version with like this model they hired to play like this like panther woman, and in this movie I guess they kind of hold that off as like a twist at the end, but like basically she's just like a cat who's been like made more like
I don't even think I caught that.
It's like less obvious that she's
that's at the end of the movie.
Animal. Yeah, like there's kind of a little shot where like her eyes show like a bit of.
Oh, I totally just didn't even catch that. I was just like, oh,
I guess
it's a happy ending. It's over. I didn't really catch.
Yeah, it's like a very subtle like sort of twist, I guess.
Yeah, that's
it's like
cool.
They're getting rescued and like he's gotten his human form back, and then like her like just like a quick shot of the woman there. It was like her eyes have changed.
Yeah, I was a little bit tipsy and or high when I was watching the end of that movie, so it might have been like, and I was also tired, so I might have missed the eye thing. But that sounds cool. I like that.
Yeah,
I'm
pretty sure. I think apparently the Brando one also has like some kind of
twist,
like
not necessarily
cat girl involved. I don't know. There's always got to be a cat girl for some reason.
There's got to be a cat girl twist. I watched the documentary about the '96 one. So like it sounds fucking crazy with some of the stuff.
Yeah, that's a super messy
production. Yeah, and
I haven't seen that yet. I should.
No, I haven't either. It's on the list, and I'm gonna keep this on the list. And also, Stepford Wives, which is the one that I reviewed earlier. It has a remake too that I also kind of want to talk about it too.
Yeah.
But
Isn't Brandon like he's just made up like all like pasty looking?
yeah, and that's what I've seen in the clips in the documentary I watched about it. He was very
Yeah,
pasty white, which is that like in the books or no?
Oh no, I think actually
I think he wanted to.
I think
do
I probably
that.
liked this like the 70s just for the Moreau character. Like he's not that over the top and he's just kind of a normal looking guy. And
Yeah,
I think
no, the
that's-
movies like overall, it's like especially for that era, it's good. It's a good film. Like generally, like it's entertaining. It kept me captivated. I love that they had to actually do things like when you see a guy fighting a tiger, he's basically actually fighting a tiger. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was
Dangerous.
an interesting like stuff. Like the whole ending is very like just everything falling apart. You know.
Oh,
I
yeah,
guess that's kind of a theme.
everything on fire.
I think all the versions kind of do something,
Similar
go in a
to
bit
that.
of a different direction, right?
Because it had to be like that. It had. They couldn't do it. It would be all CGI nowadays if they made a Dr. Moreau now and they did that scene.
Yeah.
It would all be CGI. So it's super cool to look back on films like this and just see how awesome it looks to see
Well-
the actual building.
Whole aesthetic,
On fire.
like I guess it reminds me a lot of Planet of the Apes and even
Yeah.
main character, I forget his name. They changed the name like in this one, but like
The servant
the
character?
Austin Powers exposition guy.
Oh, Montgomery in this, Mr. Montgomery in this film is the character's name in this movie.
Andrew Braddock. Yes. Okay, so it's
Yeah.
Michael York. Yeah, Montgomery's like the
Michael York's the main guy. Montgomery's like his helper. Or
assistant.
whatever.
Yeah.
Moreau's assistant. I'll type in the IMDb here while we're going.
Yeah, I was trying to think of Michael York. I just know him from Austin Powers, but like yeah, he like with his like blonde hair and like muscly look, like he just reminds me of Charlton Heston in Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, I also knew him mainly though from Austin Powers, but he's also in Logan's Run, which I don't know if you've seen Logan's Run, but he's the main guy in that. So he had like he was a leading man like in the 70s, yeah. So good for him. And I have the IMDb page open up here. This is, I feel like it deserves more than this. 5.9 out of 10. It's not the worst rating ever, but this movie is decent. I think it deserves at least a 6 as a 5.9. But I'm gonna look down here. The other cast, we can talk about a little bit about the cast. So there's a character, Ling, in this movie, who's another sort of
Ling,
servant, or Ling M, whatever.
Ling, I don't know. Yeah,
Something like that.
Ling,
It's
yeah.
Ling. It's a creature servant who's like part animal, part human, that was originally an animal that Dr. Moreau turned into a human animal servant. So that makes enough sense for the movie, that's fine. But the part that I have a problem with is that whose side is this character on? Because they're helping all these animal creatures, and that makes sense. Like, okay, they're an animal creature. They're helping the animal creatures. They show that the one is dead, and that makes them all riled up. Or they show that Montgomery is dead because they're not supposed to shed blood. That is the law. That is what they keep being told. But then Emling then is helping Michael York later on. So I'm confused
I don't know, like-
as to where their allegiance lies. That's what I wonder.
The script is like sometimes it is a bit confusing. Yeah, I think.
I think they just had to have someone helping them both at certain points, so they just didn't know how
I
else
liked,
to write it, I guess. Go ahead.
Well, I liked the sayer of the law.
Yeah, the sayer of the law. So I didn't really delve that deep into that. So
In the 30s one, it's actually Bela Lugosi with all that fur on, but in this
oh
one,
yeah, what's
I don't
the
know who
one
it
in the
is.
30s called? Island of Lost Souls, or what is?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like Charles Lawton, I guess his name is. He plays up Moreau
It's okay.
as a little bit more like, you know, a bit more of a stereotypical villain, I guess. Very, I don't know. I mean, he's got like an evil beard and stuff, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, like it's an interesting film. I think like, in terms of just like if you're looking at just horror elements,
Yeah.
Island of Lost Souls is probably the most effective one, even though it's like, it's its 30s production, but like,
Yeah, I still like
they
it.
have a lot of like, when things break down, like when the animals go berserk on Moreau, like it's actually pretty like they've got, there's just like approaching, and there's like these big shadows behind them, and it's really cool looking. And also I think that the comeuppance is a little cooler because they end up actually like taking Moreau to the House of Pain, and they start like dissecting him, I guess, like off screen.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Which in this movie, I think he just kind of dies like.
They try to take him to the House of Pain.
Yeah.
But then something happens. Oh yeah, this is another thing that I had a big problem with that didn't make any sense. Dr. Moreau is surrounded by all of these animal people, and they're mad because he killed Montgomery, and that's the law, and he's not supposed to break the law. And that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is that when he could have just shot one of them, but instead he shoots a couple in the air. He's like, woohoo!
I was thinking that, yeah.
And then they, of course, like they get him off the horse, they tackle him down, but they show later Michael York. There's a big group around him, and he shoots one of them, and they all run away. So he could have just shot one of them, and they would have all ran away. But
yeah, I think there are a few places in this movie where like somebody's holding a gun and then just forgets to use it.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And then he's like whipping. Yeah, he has a gun too, and I think he just starts like whipping them, and that doesn't help. But I don't know. This movie has a few flaws, but it's overall pretty entertaining. Especially something from the 70s. It's held up decently well. And I've been thinking about this, and I don't know if this is true. I mean, this might be my own self that feels this way, but movies, like the visual quality, I think this is like when it started to get good to me, like this camera wise, and
Like the 70s
and
like,
color and stuff. Because like I was watching Stepford Wives. Stepford Wives is good, but the color grade, it's like 2 years before, and it just feels like not quite as crystal clear as this film. So I thought that was interesting. That's just something I've always thought about. It's like when did it get clear with the video? And that's to me like 76, 77. that is 1.5. But anyways, that was a little bit of a off topic tangent.
Yeah, there's a surprising amount of like, I don't know, animal wrangling in this movie, or just like setting off like probably trained tigers and stuff to like wrestle with
people,
the
it's
actors
crazy. Yeah,
in costumes. So yeah,
super dangerous. The whole time that scene is happening, I'm like, oh, they could like kill that person if the tiger just decides to like claw them. You know, it's that because that's a dangerous animal. But no, it does add that level of charm and excitement to the film. It makes it more entertaining to see that the stuff is actually there. It's not just a CGI fucking tiger. It's a real tiger.
Well, I wanted to mention what this movie reminds me of is it's kind of like a precursor, I think, to Jurassic Park.
You could say that in a way. There's lots of elements to that.
There's like
playing God, the playing God aspect, right?
Guy, yeah, just like on an isolated island, trying to manipulate nature, and then trying to assume control, but like things like hang in such a precarious balance. Like he actually mentions, I think they keep mentioning like, oh, if they manage to spill blood, then we're fucked, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, it's very similar to Jurassic Park. Absolutely, I agree. Obviously mild differences, but the basic idea. If you were to...
Yeah, I think of like, it's
but
somewhere in that bridge between Frankenstein and Jurassic Park, kind of.
Yeah, but what if he were to open up a park with all these creatures, the Dr. Moreau creature park? Then it would really be like it. But
I was also gonna mention, cause talking about that 30s one.
Yeah, I should watch that.
There are a few. There's a lot of actual like pop culture references that come from that movie.
From Island of Lost Souls.
Yeah, well, from the book, but also through this movie in particular. Like, because I think the laws in the book. I think it's something like, had to go on all fours and not to chase man or something and not to suck up drink. In this movie and in the 30s movie, one of them is like they just say like not to spill blood, and
Right.
there is a song by Oingo Boingo called No Spill Blood. They specifically like the chorus is like what is the law. So that's one, and then of course
Cool.
big influence Devo with the song Jocko Homo. Apparently Mark Mothersbaugh just he had seen like the Island of Lost Souls on TV or something, and was inspired to write the lyrics for with like Are We Not Men?
Oh, that's cool. Suspicious Manifold is a Devo aficionado. Knows a lot about Devo.
Yeah, we in Spacements we had like a Devo cover show.
Yeah, that's the good stuff. Space Spins, rest in peace. But anyway, The Island of Dr. Moreau, 1977. I overall really liked this. No, well, not really, but I liked this. There's, like I said, there's some problems with it, but it was pretty cool. I like the makeup. The acting's pretty good all around. Just a few, nitpicks here and there. But I generally enjoyed the film. And I'm running out of stuff to say, but I bet if I think for a little bit, I could think of more stuff to say. Do you have anything else to add?
Not really. I guess probably because I think it's like a pretty middle kind of film, right?
A middle? What do you mean?
I don't know. Just like it's it's all right, right?
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. An okay film.
So it's something that I would recommend for like if you're into that like classic sci-fi genre or whatever, but like
Yeah.
just a normal person would probably be like super bored.
Yeah. And there's something
Imagine.
else I thought I could talk about now. The '96 one. We keep going back to it, but it's infamously terrible. But there was two different directors. And the first director, I forget his name, but he's the one who directed that robot horror movie Hardware, and that was like the reason he was picked for it. But then he ended up like not showing up, and it wasn't good, so they had to fire him. But he had an idea that I thought was cool. That what if you set it, and they obviously didn't do it. What if you set the film in nowadays? Because it doesn't have to be a period piece. That's just when the book was written. The idea nowadays it could be even more relevant because of stuff like CRISPR and whatever. It's that I know it's different, but we're more closer to it than we were then, right?
Yeah.
Oh shit! G-Berg's redeem take a hoot. Snap! We better do that real quick.
Hoot hoot.
Do you have anything else to add?
The only thing that would have made this like maybe the best, I don't know, like something that would have helped with the horror element, I guess, or at least adapting the book as just like, I don't know, it's just pretty disturbing, but like, come on, there's got to be vivisection for this character to be as evil as he can be. I don't know.
I didn't get a hoot there. I think this is out of juice. I'm gonna have to take a bong hoot in a little bit, but for now, we gotta finish the review and then we'll do a bong hoot. But yeah, no, I agree with that. What you said. This movie, I think we're good, right? On talking about it. I think I'm out of stuff to say about it, unless you have anything else. But I think you're probably good too.
I'll give it a 5.
Okay, yeah, let's rate it. 5 out of 10. I'm gonna give it solid 7. I think it was good. Like, it's not perfect, but it was fun. And on my rating system, if I liked it, it's gonna be like a 7 or a 6. If I didn't like it, it's gonna be below 5. But so here it is, 7 out of 10. I'm gonna say huzzah! I say. I better get my bong rep. Okay, yeah, if I forget, just keep bugging me, but I'm gonna try to remember, I promise. G-Bergs, you better indeed get it. I love you. Thank you for being here, my friend. But yeah, I guess I'll do the last overview of the film here. So, The Island of Dr. Moreau, 1977, 7 out of 10. Jeff gives it 5 out of 10. I think that's fair. But I have not read the book, so maybe if I read the book, I would have given it 5 out of 10. I don't know. But I don't know. I like this. It's not perfect. There's some things that just don't make sense here and there. Like, why didn't he just shoot one of them? There's lots of moments kind of like that. But overall, I like the film. And, you know, it was good. Not perfect, but I do want to watch the one that's supposed to be really terrible. The 1996 one. Anyway, until then, that's this 7 out of 10. Island of Dr. Moreau, 1977. Boom. End of review.
His is the hand that makes. His is the house of pain.
That's what they say in the film. Alright, thanks, Jeff. See you later, my friend. See you in the chat.